Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Blue Archive reaction. I'm finally back from my vacation to Canada, and I'm going to be getting full back into doing videos all the time. But we're only going to be doing 234 this time because this is the only one that had like a notable amount of likes and attention to it in general, where the rest of the comments kind of were just sitting there, not really getting too much of that. So I just wanted to stick with the one and didn't want to step on any other songs that had relations to other tracks. But this one seemed new enough, at least by the theme number, that it probably doesn't have anything that relates directly to it yet. Maybe, but I figured I'd just give this one a shot and do a solo video here and let the comments of this video choose the next one or ones I tackle. So I guess without further ado, let's go. Ooh. I gotta say, I really do love this like heavily compressed piano that a lot of the producers for Blue Archive put in. I'm already vibing with this. Nice, calm. Woo. Pick it up a little bit. I think it's feeling very, weirdly enough, kind of like Final Fantasy, like Kingdom Hearts. Like a mall by the beach. Kind of dig that. Ooh. Ooh. I love how simple this piano part is, but it's doing so much work. And the bass line is really assisting it. One of those perfect examples of how to write something simple, repetitive, but not annoyingly so. Obviously, they do that really well for Blue Archive all the time, but that pulsating like synth pluck in the background. Ooh, there's that side chain I've talked about recently. God, it's just, they never miss, do they? They really don't. So I'm not sure who composed this, obviously. The song does not have a composer listed on the wiki, at least, but they did give us the D. In fact, the D major, a very large one. It's such a good key. It has so much flexibility. Most of the song rooted itself around the arpeggiating pattern of that D, E, F sharp, and then it went to C sharp, D, E. It just goes... It just continues to repeat that, obviously adding flourishes and little changes in there, especially that part there that goes A, G, F sharp, D, so it's just... That's just so pretty. It just jumps right up there and it brings you right back down to that root of D. And then, of course, on the bass side of the hand, the left, you're getting a lot of just simple root notes that are keeping up with the rest of the dancing around that the other hand is doing, and just keeping things locked down to that D, C sharp kind of root area where a lot of that bass ends up sticking. Mostly because a lot of the song is focusing on that area, especially that D section. So it's like, why wouldn't you have the bass rooted to the root note? Makes sense. And of course, this is really common for these songs, especially they're easy to write in because you can kind of just go up and down the key that you're playing in and just keeping things rooted to that bass note around that area and just sitting on that one, like just laying on that works really well because you can always go back to it. So you never have to worry about where you started. You always find your way back. And of course, on my more general opinion of the song, I had mentioned that it kind of felt like a beach, especially the Square Enix idea of what a beach should sound like. There's just something very like early 2000s about this sound in this song that makes me think early 2000s beach. You could also say it probably sounds something like the Sonic 06 like cityscape area not City Escape, but like where that part of the game takes place, just the walking around the city and talking to people. It has a very similar energy to that, and a lot of beach songs, for whatever reason, had a very similar sound around that time. Not entirely sure why that is. Maybe they shared some composers or just general inspiration from that like 90s, early 2000s sound. But in general, that's just the vibe I got out of this song, and it really just, it feels good. It brings me back a little bit. I love the key of D as well. It's really, really nice, and of course very flexible. A lot of keys are, I say that a lot about pretty much any key, but like the key of D has a special place in my heart for a lot of reasons, and this is kind of one of them. I think there's some nostalgia in that for me. It has a lot of joyous energy, and that's something that usually when you write in this key is used for something much more bombastic. It has a lot more of like a triumphant energy to it, but in this one it's a little less of that and more of the happy good times we spend with our friends kind of energy. It's a different approach, but that's largely based on the instruments you use and the general idea of the song. You can reach a lot of different emotional places by just changing around a few instruments, and the fact that this was mostly synthetic as well as that piano, which again, beautiful compression on that piano. I love that they do that. Whoever the composers are on these songs, the ones that I can't find the names of who wrote them, somebody really likes to compress their piano and their keyboard sounds, and it just sounds so nice in here. There's something that just feels so crisp about it being compressed, and that's usually the opposite. When you overcompress, it loses a lot of that feeling. But I think it kind of works with these because I'm getting that nostalgic energy out of it, and the brain kind of like compresses in its own way when you're remembering stuff. You don't remember it exactly how you heard it the first time, so you kind of get this rose-tinted glasses effect, but in the brain and in like that memory of the song that you have. So this having all that makes me feel like I was hearing it on like a tube TV as a kid. And of course, from my experience, being the old man I am, that brightens up my mood a little bit, and I really like hearing that because I love that aesthetic and these sorts of songs, keeping that around, even if the song isn't really intending to be that, especially with like recent resurgences of certain visual and audio aesthetics. There's a lot of that coming around. The last Zenless Zone Zero song I got to had this like 90s grunge, like graffiti street sound to it. Loved that, and I really hope more of that is making its way back into the zeitgeist of modern stuff, but that's just my nostalgia talking. This is such a pretty song. It has a lot for me, but so does every Blue Archive song. I still think I've only heard maybe one or two that I was kind of iffy on, and even those weren't bad songs. They keep putting out bangers. This like same set of 3 or 4 composers keeps putting out every banger, and they're always so good. They're always so simple. Like most of the time they're so simple in what they are, but that's exactly why they're so good. You don't need to overcomplicate it, and they all know this. And of course, musician to musician, I love seeing that, and I love hearing it, of course, because it's just a respect of that ability and being able to do that so consistently without losing their way. But I think I'll stop yapping there, so thank you all so very much for watching. Obviously, if you have any other songs you want me to get to from Blue Archive, drop them down below, especially if they end up being related or working together and I can put more than one in one video. And of course, if you like this video and you want to see more of them in the future, you know how to follow me and support me and all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!